Hey guys, Momola here, and in today's video, I'm going to show you 4 very straightforward and up-to-date tactics to scale your website by over 200%. That's tripling your traffic in less than 5 months. Let's get into today's video. So here's a few things to note before I start to show you this case study of how I've scaled a portfolio site by over 200%, and that's kind of tripling it within about 5 months, maybe a little bit less. And some of the really cool strategies. A few things that you should probably know before I start is number one, this has not been hit by a core update, which is obviously really important because there seems to be core updates almost every 3 months at the moment. Number two, this isn't in a obscure or really difficult niche. It's a very popular niche that probably most people can get involved in, and you don't need to have expert information or expert knowledge to build content and build links in this niche. And thirdly, this is not just from organic traffic. So I'm going to show you how I scaled this website using a social referral traffic. And while I think diversification across traffic is probably the best thing you can do, especially right now in today's industry where organic traffic seems to be going up and down depending on core updates, it's super important that you diversify traffic. So let's get into today's video. So here's a screenshot of the analytics of this particular portfolio website. Now, as you can see, at the beginning of the year, so around January times, it was in and around the 50,000 page views mark. And that kind of stayed the same and roughly, it maybe just slightly dipped in February. As we started to improve and make optimizations, it started to rise up in March and the same in April. And then by May, which is just gone last month, it has doubled pretty much in page views, which for me, in less than 5 months' time, is ideal. I want to be looking to double, possibly even triple my websites against my portfolio every single year, and then position to sell or potentially keep it for cash flow. Also, one thing that I wanted to kind of highlight is the average time on page is pretty good, 3 minutes 47, which means people are actually engaged and they care about the content. They're reading through it. They are probably engaged because 3 minutes 47 means they're probably getting to the end or at least the middle of the content on average. And this is across 5 months-ish, so it's a pretty good indication of someone being engaged in the content. And I'll explain why that is in a second. And also the bounce rate specifically for an affiliate marketing stroke informational type site is pretty good, under 90%, in and around the 86% mark, which essentially means that they are coming on the page and they are going off to another page. But of course, the majority of people are going to be bouncing maybe back to Google search or potentially going somewhere else. The first thing we've done to increase our traffic by over 100% and continuing to increase every single month is we've doubled content production. Now, if you have a existing blog or if you're just starting up, one of the things that you're going to have to definitely allocate budget for is to produce content, or if you're writing it yourself, of course, to allocate time to make sure you're writing enough content every single month. Now, I'm going to record a separate video on maybe some of the best practices in terms of how many posts you should have on your website, whether you're starting out or potentially as someone with an existing portfolio. But for us, for now, we essentially doubled our content production. So the site had in and around 300 to 400 pages around that mark. And we've doubled that across 4-ish months to around 800 pages and posts. Now, you might potentially be thinking that that's quite a lot of content for this particular project and our timescales and our budgets. It was what I was aiming for. And probably over the next 3 to 4 months, we may go up by around about 100%. So we may get that to at least in and around 1,200 post mark. Now, number 2 on the list of how we increased our traffic in a relatively short period is we carried out audits and content refreshes for existing pages. And that's really, really important in today's day and age where Google seems to be at some shape or form penalizing websites that have old content that has not been updated. So if you have existing posts, if that's 10 or 100, you need to go back into those and definitely give those some type of content refresh. Now, here's the 3 most important things in terms of content refreshing. You definitely want to add at least 100 to 200 words, whether that's going to be in the introduction section, potentially in the body itself, or probably more importantly, the FAQs. Number 2 is you probably want to add a few new images, add a few new keywords in the alt text as well. That's pretty important. And lastly, and probably most importantly, you definitely want to go into Google Search Console, add those pages and posts into the actual search bar itself, and see where the traffic is coming from in terms of the keywords that come up on Google Search Console. So just to give you an example of what that looks like, I'm in Google Search Console right now, and I'm going to go to performance on the left-hand side, and I'm going to add new, go to page, and add in my URL, okay? So this is a new post, so you probably not going to see much data. But once you do add in a existing post and it's been ranking for a little while, you're going to see lots of queries and keywords on the side here in the panel. And then you want to go back through your page and post and add in anything that is the page is ranking for that is not included in the original blog post. Now that's a super simple tip, but I think if you do that across your existing pages for at least the majority of them, you're going to see really smart and efficient tweaks and performances and optimizations, which should lead to higher positions in the SERP rankings and more traffic. Now, the third thing we did for this project is we diversified our traffic. As I mentioned before, that's really, really important in today's day and age because Google seemed to be kind of going up and down in terms of giving websites more traffic or less traffic with every single core update. So diversifying across other traffic mediums and channels is a really good way to keep your traffic strong, keep it healthy, and potentially keep it taken up in the right direction. Also, and just as important, if you do get hit by a Google core update, at least you still have traffic coming in from other places and you can minimize the effect of what that core update may look like for your business and for your cash flow. Now, just to give you an example of what that looks like for this particular website on my portfolio, as you can see here, this is from the beginning of the year to around, well, we're in June now, so the first few days of June. In terms of organic search, it's had in and around 185,000 users in that time frame. Around 52,000 of those have been social and around 30,000 have been direct. Now, I'll explain in a second what direct means and why that's come up. But for now, I just want to kind of give you an example of what this looks like across different channels. So if it was all organic search, you'd probably see, of course, the significant amount of traffic and data all coming from organic search, which is very good in terms of being able to rank lots of pages on Google, but can be a little bit risky if you only solely rely on Google. Now for us, for this particular project, social traffic was Pinterest traffic. So at the beginning of the year, we set up a Pinterest campaign, and I'm going to show you some of the details about that in a second. And then over the last few months, I've been scaling it up, spending more money, adding more pins, and that's been accelerating our growth with this website. So just to recap, the first thing you want to do is double down on your content, whether that's you having a new team and someone coming in to write the content for you, or potentially you're going to sit down and write the content yourself. Either way, you need to budget and allocate time to double your content production. Number two is you need to do content refreshes on existing posts. And usually it's probably best that you aim to optimize those low-hanging fruits. So any of the posts that are at the bottom of page 1 or maybe at the top of page 2 and try to optimize those first because those tweaks are going to see higher traffic increases with a lot less work. And thirdly, you are going to want to spend more time in diversifying your traffic away from Google where possible, and at the very least try to invest some time and effort into alternative ways to generate traffic to your blog. Now, just to wrap up here, once you've done all those three things and you've done it to a really high level, the next thing you're going to do is look at all the data and then double down on what works. Now, as you can see, there's quite a lot going on in this graph, but I'll explain it very briefly. The first blue line is all users, so that's the data that Google has tracked across all the users on this particular site. The orange one is direct traffic. The green one is obviously going to be organic traffic from Google. And as you can see, the purple line is from Pinterest traffic. So as you can see, there's been a gradual increase across pretty much all of the traffic sources. There's been a little decrease in Pinterest traffic here and an increase in direct traffic. But I think there's a little data mismatch there from what Google's reading as Pinterest traffic as opposed to direct. So hopefully that's been helpful for you. If you have any questions or comments or queries, feel free to put them in the comments section below. Increasing traffic can definitely be a full-time job. If you need some help with that, feel free to reach out to me and my team and we'll be happy to help you. Anyhow, that's it for now. See you in the next one. Take care.